So we're going to talk about percentiles and quartiles right now. Let's first talk about percentiles. Percentiles will be labeled as capital P sub k, and that's just the general notation. K can be 1, 2, all the way up to 100. So, for example, P1 is the bottom 1%. P2 is the bottom 2%, and so on. So it just keeps going. So let's draw a number line to kind of show what we're talking about here. So let's start here. Then we have, this is the largest value here. If we were to put all of our values in ascending order, smallest value here. And then in between here, we'll have all our different percentages. So here we could say this is P1, and then P2 is here, P3, and then this trend just continues all the way up to P49, I should say P49, P50, and then it just keeps going all the way up to P98 and P99. So these represent our percentiles. So if you were in this range from here, that means you're in the bottom 1%. And this can be applied to, you hear it a lot when children are born or as children are growing up. You hear their weight and their height and their head size in terms of percentages. So if your child was born and you're told that your child is in the 99th percentile, that means that your child is taller than 99% of all the other babies that age. If you keep going from here to here, that just means the bottom 2%. Alright, if your child was in this range over here, this would mean to be in the top 2%. Or your child was bigger, taller, I'm just going to say bigger than 98% of all others. And this can be applied to SAT scores, exams, and so on. Now, percentiles are good to know and have an understanding of exactly what they mean, but what we'll be mostly focusing on are quartiles. So let's start again with another number line, just like I did here. And this time I'm going to put, so you'd have P1 here, and this is your smallest value again, and largest over here. So P1, then you'd have P99 over here. But what I'm more focused on this time would be P25, P50, and P75. These are the quartiles. And so if we were to draw a new number line like this, let's write quartiles here. This P25, meaning you're in the 25th percentile, or you're better, bigger, taller, have a better SAT score than 25% of people your age, that corresponds to Q1. And same thing with 50. That responds to our Q2. Q2, the second quartile, is also labeled as M. M is our median. It's the middle of the data. Middle of data, or observations. I'm just going to say data here. And then the last one we'll be interested in is Q3. So that's how quartiles are divided. They're divided into equal parts, 4 equal parts. So I'm going to write that down here at the bottom here. Quartiles are divided into 4 equal parts. And basically what we set up here, Q1 is the bottom 25 percentile, Q2 is the 50%, and Q3 is the 75 percentile. So now that we have a good understanding of what these are, let's look at an example. Actually, before we do an example, we would want to go and look at how to actually find these quartiles. So that's the first thing we'll do, is I'll write some steps out of how to find all these quartiles. So step, let's say star it, to find quartiles. First thing you want to do is arrange data in ascending order. Arrange data in ascending order. And so when you typically start, you'd get this data set in just a mixture. It wouldn't be in an ascending order, it wouldn't be anything, it'd just be a random chosen events of items. So you'd want to arrange those in ascending order, smallest to largest. And then from there, number 2, find the median, M, capital M, or same thing as Q2. So when I refer to Q2, the second quartile, it's also meaning that we're finding the median. So it's important to keep those two related to each other. And then number 3, it's kind of a lot to write here, so go ahead and write it out. That way we have good notes to go back and read later. Think of the data set as 2 halves. So we found M, and now we're going to have 2 equal halves. That's basically what that's saying. Then Q1, the first quartile, is the median of the bottom half of data. Is the median of the bottom half of the data. In Q3, the third quartile, is the median of the top half. So really, when you're finding quartiles, you are finding the median 3 times. And the best way to go about this is to look at an example. And here's an example. I went ahead and wrote it down. And so please pause the video and write this down now. And I'll go ahead and continue. So example 1 says, Table 1 shows the claims of 10 randomly selected collision claims. Find the first, second, and third quartiles. So here's Table 1, and it's asking us to find Q1, Q2, and Q3. So based on our steps written in the previous section, how to find the quartiles, you want to arrange all this in ascending order. So I'll just write a number 1 here, so that way we know it refers back to the steps I just wrote. So if we write these in ascending order, you'd get this. And I'm not going to say them all. I'm just going to write them down, and you can write as I go. And notice here I'm leaving out all the commas from up here, just because I'm putting commas here when I'm writing in them ascending order. There'll be too many commas and you wouldn't know what's what. So just a helpful hint there for future reference. Of course, if you're doing this in a calculator or in an Excel spreadsheet, those commas don't really matter here. So here is our data arranged. Now what I need to do is find the median of this data. So I start from the outside and I just count in until I get to the middle. So 1 on the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then here's the middle. It's these two. So to find the median when you have two things that are in the middle, this is number 2 here. To find M, we have to add these two and divide by 2. So capital M, the median, is also equal to Q2 is equal to these two added together divided by 2, which gets you 1508. Now number 3, it says to think of the data as in 2 halves now. So we found our median, and our median is right here. So now here's the bottom half and here's the top half. So now just to find Q1 will equal the median of this bottom half. So just the same way, we'll start here, go 1 on both sides, and then we meet in the middle at 668. And then Q2 we already know is 1508, and then Q3 we find the median of the top half. So same process, we start here and go in incrementally by 1, and so 3871 is our third quartile. So if we were to draw this on a graph, it would look something like this. Smallest value goes over here, 384. Largest value goes over here, 21147. And then at Q1 is here, Q2 is here, and Q3. And all I'm going to do is label them. So Q1 we said was 668, Q2 is 1508, and Q3 is 3871. Alright, that's it for this video. In the next video we're going to use this example again to aid us with a new terminology.